Friday of the 26th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the book of Job. The Lord addressed Job out of the storm and said, "Have you ever in your lifetime commanded the morning and shown the dawn its place, for taking hold of the ends of the earth till the wicked are shaken from its surface? The earth is changed as is clay by the seal, and dyed as though it were a garment. But from the wicked the light is withheld, and the arm of pride is shattered. Have you entered into the sources of the sea, or walked about in the depths of the abyss? Have the gates of death been shown to you, or have you seen the gates of darkness? Have you comprehended the breadth of the earth? Tell me if you know all. Which is the way to the dwelling place of light, and where is the abode of darkness, that you may take them to their boundaries and set them on their homeward paths? You know, because you were born before them, and the number of your years is great." Then Job answered the Lord and said, "Behold, I am of little account. What can I answer you? I put my hand over my mouth. Though I have spoken once, I will not do so again. Though twice, I will do so no more." The word of the Lord.
Responsorial Psalm. The response is, "Guide me, Lord, along the everlasting way." O Lord, you have probed me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I stand. You understand my thoughts from afar. My journeys and my rest you scrutinize. With all my ways you are familiar. Guide me, Lord, along the everlasting way. Where can I go from your spirit? From your presence, where can I flee? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I sink to the netherworld, you are present there. Guide me, Lord, along the everlasting way. If I take the wings of the dawn, if I settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall guide me, and your right hand hold me fast. Guide me, Lord, along the everlasting way. Truly you have formed my inmost being. You knit me in my mother's womb. I give you thanks that I am fearfully, wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. Guide me, Lord, along the everlasting way.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to them, "Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty deeds done in your midst had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would long ago have repented, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. But it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the judgment than for you. And as for you, Capernaum, will you be exalted to heaven? You will go down to the netherworld. Whoever listens to you listens to me. Whoever rejects you rejects me. And whoever rejects me rejects the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord.
October 5th, Friday of the 26th week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from Job 38, verse 1, verses 12 to 21, and chapter 40, verses 3 to 5. All throughout the book of Job, Job has been challenging God, asking him to come down and explain why he's suffering so much. While Job's friends have been continuously arguing that Job must have committed some sin, even a secret sin, maybe a sin he doesn't realize, in order to be suffering so much, their equation is that suffering is a punishment for what one has done. So if Job is suffering, he must have done something terrible. Job replies that even though he's a sinner, he didn't do enough to deserve this terrible suffering. He calls God to come down and have a fair fight with him. Now obviously, with God it can never be a fair fight because God created the universe. He's omnipotent. And that's a little bit of what we see here. God comes down in a whirlwind and he begins to question Job. Did you create the world? Do you know where I store the sun during the night? Things that Job cannot answer. And ultimately, Job's response is, now I understand that I don't understand. I have to trust. The book of Job never really gives an answer on why the just suffer. It just gives an answer on how we should respond to that suffering. We should respond with trust. Now that's a pretty tall order, but we have to realize that in the New Testament, Jesus comes down and joins us in the suffering. A beautiful image is that when we're suffering, we feel like we're on the cross and we look out and there's no one there to console us until we remember who's on the other side of that cross, Christ. The Gospel is from Luke 10:13 to 16. Jesus condemns Chorazin and Bethsaida, two towns that are in the vicinity of Nazareth, in which Jesus has performed a lot of miracles, and the response of the people has been totally inadequate. He condemns them and he says, if I had done these miracles in Tyre and Sidon, pagan territories, they would have converted long ago. Because you have rejected the message and the mission that God has sent me to proclaim to you, then you will suffer the consequences. When God invites us, we have to respond with our whole heart. If we don't, the punishment, first of all, is that we can't be part of the kingdom. Not because God withholds the kingdom from us, but we've said no to it. And then there's a long-term punishment too, in the sense that there are consequences for our choices, even consequences in the afterlife. And may God bless us.